thus extending the hand of friendship. When you live in a country that's bigger in size than the U.S., but with only the population of California, you need to get along with everybody, or you'll run out of friends in a hurry. The world has been reminded on a few occasions that they shouldn't mistake our kindness for weakness. Take the World Cup of Hockey, for example. Along the same line, just because we don't brag doesn't mean we're not proud. And that's where this book comes in. We're proud of our inventors. And for a country with so few people to be able to generate so many world-class inventors tells me we must be doing something right. When we see flaws in the world around us, instead of whining about it, we figure out a way to make it better. I like that about us. As you go through this book, think about how all of these inventions, from the paint roller to the cardiac pacemaker, have made life better for all of us. Give yourself another reason to be proud of Canada. Just don't tell anybody. Well, I got a little bit of a treat for you here for listening to this book. Got a young fella here going to help me with the read. His name is Dave Smith. You want to say hello to the folks, Dave?
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, I've known Dave pretty near all his life. He's really like a son to me. But Dave, actually, some of you may know Dave. If you ever came to the tapings in Toronto at the CBC there, Dave was the audience guy, the warm-up, cool-down kind of filler guy. And also he was one of the writers on the Red Green Show and helped me write this book. So it only seemed right that he would also help me read it. So what Dave's going to do is he's going to read, the real bona fide inventions that if you're ever going to quote from this book, I would suggest you quote from the parts that Dave reads, not necessarily from the parts that I read, which tend to be somewhat more fanciful and entertaining. All right, Dave, let's get her going.
Alkaline battery. Louis Urey was born in Pontypool, Ontario in 1927 and was the first guy to be able to make an alkaline battery that could last longer than the zinc-carbon battery everybody was using in their 3-pound metal flashlights. Sometime in the 1950s, Louis came up with the nifty trick of using manganese dioxide, solid zinc, and powdered zinc alongside the alkaline, which somehow allowed the battery to last much longer.
Attaboy, Louis. In the 1950s, while you were doing experiments that made you a millionaire, I was playing with my Gilbert chemistry set, making the basement smell like rotten eggs, and taking thermometers apart so I could watch the mercury roll around in my hand.
When the alkaline battery patent was granted to Louis and his team in 1960, that was what I would call a good day. The company, Union Carbide Corporation, later was renamed Energizer. Perhaps you've heard of them. Meanwhile, the Gilbert chemistry set folks went under.
At first, many Lodge members thought these were alkaline batteries. As you know, alkaline played right field for the Detroit Tigers. Lodge members were shocked to think that alkaline had enough time to invent a battery. But they always say right field is the easiest position. The biggest surprise to them was that they thought that meant he was Canadian. Whenever you hear a Lodge member say stuff like that, you're reminded of why Google was created. Maybe the whole world made a big mistake when they demoted batteries from a primary and sometimes only source of energy to become either a portable form of electricity or a backup plan for those times when the power goes off because of either a failure in the ability of the power grid to generate electricity or a failure in the ability of the homeowner to pay the electric bill. If instead of wiring the nation and making us all dependent on ever more costly generated electricity, they had continued to make more and more powerful and efficient batteries that could be charged by the sun, we'd be free and happy and masters of our own destiny, and nobody would have to live under high-tension wires that make your fillings hum. There's a whole episode of my show devoted to the idea of turning Possum Lake into a battery. Go to the Book of Inventions page at redgreen.com and click on the word battery. Here's a tip for you. When you're inventing something, if you can't make it pretty, make it shiny.